Prince Charles has paid solemn tribute to the fallen heroes of the Second World War. He laid a wreath for Christian and Muslim servicemen today on the royal tour of Malaysia. Charles visited the Taiping Commonwealth War Graves Cemetery in Malaysia, praising the hard work of the volunteers who look after it. He was given a walking tour of the pristine graves by Paul Price, the CWG Commissioner, and Colonel Stephen Hall, British Defence Advisor to Malaysia. The Prince of Wales attends a gala dinner to celebrate 60 years of UK-Malaysia diplomatic ties at the Majestic Hotel in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, during their 11-day autumn tour of Asia. Greeted by a military piper from the Royal Gurkha Rifles Brunei, he first walked to the Muslim cemetery, laying a wreath at the Stone of Remembrance and bowing his head in acknowledgement of their service. He then crossed the dusty road to the Christian cemetery opposite, where he paused at the grave of VC winner squadron leader Arthur Stewart King's scarf. Laying a second wreath at the Cross of Sacrifice, the prince again bowed his head to reflect. A card on the wreath read, "In grateful remembrance of your service and sacrifice." Introduced to 4 local volunteers who tend to the cemetery, the prince asked them how long they had worked there, 2 or 3 years each, and said he had heard there was a problem with wild boars digging in the grass. "You look like you take very good care of it," he said. "It makes such a difference. I can't thank you enough." A cenotaph tribute of utmost significance. Moving into the shade of a gazebo, the prince spent time meeting around 60 veterans, who served with the Commonwealth or British forces in the Second World War, Malayan Emergency or Borneo Campaign. Brigadier General Dato Lau Kong Cheng RTD, a Malaysian Air Force veteran who served in the Malayan Emergency, said veterans had traveled from far and wide to meet the prince. "He asked us about where we had served and was very interested in listening. It's a great honor," he said. H.J. Ahmad Tajuddin bin H.J. Abdul Majid, from the National Malaya and Borneo Veterans Association, said it was fantastic. "How do you describe it when you're too happy, overjoyed? I never expected the next king to be so polite and kind." First Admiral Datuk K. Haithuan RTD, Vice President of the Malaysian Armed Forces Chinese Veterans Association, said he was very pleased to see all the veterans here. "For His Royal Highness to come and see this is quite something. The families of the people buried here will be very proud and honored." Mr. Price said the cemetery was currently mostly visited by historians and researchers, and the families of those laid to rest there, as he welcomed the wider interest the royal visit would bring. "It's a great honor to have His Royal Highness visit the Taiping Commonwealth War Graves. Anything that gets people interested and wanting to visit to learn more is a wonderful thing. We want as many people as possible to come, learn about what happened and pay their respects." Colonel Hall said the prince had paused at the grave of Arthur Scarfe, listening to the story of how he won his VC at 28 and marveling at his heroism. On December 9, 1941, squadron leader Scarfe had been at the Royal Air Force Base at Butterworth, Malaya, when he was on duty as all available aircraft were ordered to attack the Japanese Air Force at Singapore, Thailand. Instead, before they could take off, they were dive-bombed by the enemy, which destroyed or damaged everything but the Blenheim piloted by squadron leader Scarfe, which was already airborne. Against the odds, and vastly outnumbered, he continued the mission to Singapore and completed it, making a forced landing at Alor Star mortally wounded. Among the nurses working frantically to save his life at the local hospital was Elizabeth Lunn, his pregnant wife, who donated her own blood in a last-ditch bid to help. Her efforts were unsuccessful. He died and, soon afterwards, she lost their unborn baby. He now lies in Taiping Cemetery, one of 35 Commonwealth War Graves commissioned cemeteries in Malaysia, created by the British Army after the defeat of Japan. There are 864 Second World War Commonwealth casualties and 1 Dutch casualty commemorated on the site, built in 1947, more than 500 of whom are unidentified. Before leaving, the prince signed and dated the visitor book. According to staff, it is the first time a member of the British royal family has visited the site.